Good. Yeah, my name's Kelly Baltzell. I'm the CEO and owner of Beyond Indigo Pets. Welcome to have you all here today. Uh, I have our front page of our website up. So after this presentation, if you want more insights about what we do, this is where you can look. We have an explainer video, which I'll show at the end. But also I am doing a daily Facebook Live on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And it is on different topics, and I bring in a lot of guest speakers, and it's 12 to 18 minutes long, tends to be right around 15 minutes. We show it on Facebook, but then we also have all the recordings on YouTube, and we just had our 100th show yesterday. So there's lots of information in there to help you with marketing. And the goal of the show is just to cover whatever you need to know currently for whatever it is that is going crazy in our our world today. So I would suggest you look that over. You can certainly play them on a podcast sort of situation and go from there. If you all don't know who we are, we're a digital marketing company. We've been marketing for 23 years now. It's hard to believe. We focus on the veterinary vertical, all aspects and all businesses within the veterinary vertical. That's kind of what we do. And so, you know, you can read all of this yourself if you wish. But today we're actually going to talk about what you need to know for 2020, for the rest of the year. I mean, as best, and the overview and the light of that is sort of the sandbox that you're going to be playing in, because there's still quite a bit of 2020 left to go, and this year has certainly not been easy on us. Google has said it best. So Google has a page, and I'll put it up here in chat for you all. So Google does a lot of research, and they have an area called Think with Google, which is kind of like a little bit of their research arm. And I saw this, and I tend to do all my presentations like days before I present, so it's all up-to-date content for you all. And I found this yesterday, and it said in the last 6 months alone, we've probably experienced 10 years worth of change. And probably all of us can raise our hands to that. It has been very, very interesting, consuming, sharp learning curve, whatever you want to put towards it, that has been our time here. And so Google sums it up very well, and that document is kind of what they are talking about with change and how Google's thinking about it. The way I think about it is kind of like this graphic. The sandbox that we're creating for our marketing for the rest of the year needs to be fluid instead of rigid walls. The more that we can be fluid and adjust on the go, the better that we ourselves personally, each individual will adapt, but also that our businesses will adapt. One of the words that is now extremely overused is pivot. That was used a lot in the beginning, but another word that I like instead is fluid, that we need to be able to adjust our minds and our thinking depending whatever lands on our doorstep next, because I'm pretty sure there'll be more gifts on our doorstep, so to speak, and we may or may not want those. So first of all, in your marketing for 2020 is you. You got to look at yourself, maybe have a cup of your favorite beverage, could be adult or otherwise, and just decide like your own mindset going forth. And then your team members too, the ones who work on your marketing in the hospital and the practice or your business, like what is your team members' mindset about marketing? Because you are the lens that you see the world through, but also you're creating the world that people see of you. So if you're struggling and having a hard time and are not meeting or not being consistent with your marketing because of your own self, then your marketing is going to suffer. That's just an example. Then you should be going to an outside marketing company or hiring somebody inside to help because you yourself can't keep up with the demands of the marketing that you need to do at the time. So knowing ourselves and being fluid is the very first thing that you need to address for 2020. Otherwise, the rest isn't going to matter as much. The second thing you need to know is your demographic these days. Sometimes, so there was the world before March 1st, and then there's the world after March 1st. We're in the afterworld, and there's been, like Google said, a lot of changes in the last 6 months. Your demographic may have changed. So who is your demographic? Who are your clients? What do they need today? What are they addressing? What are they seeking? What services do they want? What services don't they want? This is a little bit of a handle. This is the canvas that you're painting your marketing on. It's understanding your demographic. So taking a few minutes and even pulling data out of your PIM system, seeing what people have purchased in the last 6 months, any trends that you're noting for, any trends that you would wish, like, you know, a lot of places boarding and daycare are down, but grooming's through the roof. What are you seeing, and what do you need more of, and what do you need less of? And who are you selling to, and how far away are you selling, or how far away are people coming to you? All these are information pieces that are really helpful when you are starting to look at the marketing fluid sandbox that we are working in. So I love this picture. If content is king, consistency is queen. This is really important right now, especially with our marketing, is consistency. And that's because we're all stressed out to the extreme. So an example I usually use is before March 1st, let's say on a typical day, we had 0 to 10 as a numerical measurement of the bandwidth we have in the day. We'd get up in the morning, and let's say we start at the 0. We had the capacity to work up to a 10 for our bandwidth before we just start becoming frayed at the ends. Because of world events today, we now are maybe starting the day at a 6 to a 7 or an 8, because we have this background noise that's going onwards that we've accustomed ourselves to. Human bodies are good at adjusting to stress in the short term, but after a while we will burn out, so we got to watch that. But we also have to know that ourselves and our pet owners' bandwidth is already taken up with outside world background noise events. So that only leaves like a couple of digits or numbers in our bandwidth box before we go into the red zone and maybe lose it. And we're seeing that at veterinary hospitals, where people just all of a sudden lose it, and they get very angry. So consistency helps people with those little bandwidth, because when we're stressed out, we forget stuff. We forget it like all the time. We think we're going to remember it, but we don't. And our digital devices have really kind of put it at a disadvantage in some ways, because we don't remember things as well. Like I remember I used to know all my friends' phone numbers growing up before I had a smart device. Now we don't care. I mean, the only phone number I know is my mother's, because it's all written down. So we don't remember things as well. So in marketing, we need to be consistent, and it needs to be consistency all the time on every single place that people can see your brand. And it needs to be so consistent, and that you know when you're gonna, you know it, gosh, I'm tongue-tied. Okay, you know you're doing the right job with your consistency if you're sick of seeing it yourself every single place. You need to get to the point where you're just sick of it, because that means that you're probably doing it enough then so that your pet owners see it. And the more you can set up expectations and be consistent about your messaging ahead of time, the less stressed pet owners are going to be, possibly. I'm not going to say it's a guarantee, because they know what to expect. And that helps their background stress level be better, so that, you know, on hold messaging and emails before the visit and websites and Facebook and everything. So I'm going to show you some of these things, because what's happened here with this little thing called COVID is the stress. So what do I mean by that? Well, for example, just coming right into a website, what do I need to know as a pet owner? This one's really nicely done because it's in a graphic sort of style, but this hospital is saying, hey, this is what to expect from our business when you come here for a visit. And this is just one place of information that is being done, right? So, hey, their protocol, and every hospital has their own different protocol. And that also can make it confusing to pet owners because every place they go is different. And I don't mean just your business, I mean all businesses are different. And not all businesses are keeping their information up to date. So like I personally have just, and I don't like calling, I'm ending up calling businesses I personally use just to see what they're open and what they're doing. So they haven't taken time to update it on the internet, which is, you know, takes more time out of my day as a consumer. So anyway, this hospital's like, call on arrival. That's what we expect. This is what's going to happen in the examination. This is what we will do with your intake, prescriptions, foods, payment, you know, and then they're like, hey, thank you. So here's one piece of information that's setting up the experience at the hospital. And current owner, pet owner, or maybe a future one sees this before maybe they're even picking up the phone. So the marketing messages are already setting the tone for the communication for the hospital. Here is another one. You know, this is much more of a letter style that's saying, how can you communicate with us, that we're here for you, that we're open. Because like I said, a lot of times we don't even know if we're open or not, right? Is a business there? What are the hours? What are we doing? It's setting up those communications. So that's website, but also people can see your business other places like Facebook or Instagram. So here is, I just love this photo that one of our marketing team members did for one of our clients to put on the top of their Facebook ad, and then also Facebook banner, and then they can use it on Instagram, and we can use it for ads. But it tells you, gives you another message along the discussion wave from marketing, what to expect, that they have curbside. Well, that's another thing. Doesn't really explain what curbside is, but with their marketing, there's other pieces of information that comes out saying, well, what curbside is, what to expect when you show up, etc. That they're still open, what they're open for. So again, that pet owners get to see another touch point along the way of the business. It creates consistency. Consistency creates security, and security creates the tendencies for happier people in the end. So there's that with that. Because your digital marketing now tends to be, more so than not, depending on where you are in the country, your new lobby. A lot of people aren't seeing lobbies anymore. They're seeing their cars. So, you know, where you can reach people and get information and make them feel comfortable is your digital lobbies. So your website's one of them, and then Google is this other one, and then Facebook and social media is the third. But just kind of think of your experience here. You guys see the lobby, but pet owners don't. What does that mean? And how can you virtually market the experience to pet owners so it brings them a sense of understanding? We are horrible in the United States, probably in other parts of the world as well. I can speak for our own country, is the lack of information creates a void. When we create a void, we as humans, at least in the United States, create the worst case scenario, not the best case scenario. So we're going to fill it with the most awful disaster thing we can think of versus the most positive thing we can think of. So your job as a veterinary hospital or using a marketing company like us, we're here to craft the message to fill the voids in your marketing and communication to help make that experience a better one. So marketing is communication right now, and every single piece of communication you have that is going out is also your marketing. So think about it that way. So your website, what does your website say about you? How can you use your website? Does it give a sense? What's the feeling about it? Is it accessible to people with disabilities? And you'll know that by having the little button down here in the right-hand corner. People can click that, and it makes it accessible for people who maybe are visually impaired or other issues. So check that out. Take a note, step back. What does your lobby look like? What is the feel? What is the touch? we tend to take our websites for granted, but right now it's really a main conveyor of information, tone, and just who you are to the pet owner. So that's one thing to look at for your lobbies. Page speed is something else. Here, I'll put this in here. You guys can, in the background while we're talking, click on that and put in your own domain name. Page speed is kind of up and down. FYI, right now, everybody, Google's struggling too during the COVID. They're getting a little bit better, but Google even shut down some services right when COVID hit because they couldn't keep up. And those are coming back online, but just know this is more of an indicator, not an absolute. But the indicator is that Google knows that we as humans bail, especially on a mobile device, if our websites don't load quickly, we're over it. And again, going back to that bandwidth issue I was talking about, people have less patience, not more. You know, make sure your website loads and make sure it loads easily and quickly, because that's what you want. Now, Google does this with Think with Google. It's just a little tool they have to help you know how fast your website's loading and what's going on. So, yeah. And Jean knows this and she's typing some information in chat for everybody. But it's just something that you keep an eye on. And it varies depending on which server, what Google server it hits, because Google has different servers around the United States and not all are same. How do you fix a slow speed? Well, that really depends. That becomes kind of complicated. There's not like one lever to move. I would talk to your website company, or you can come talk to us about it. We can help fix it. But again, it's sort of like a car and it's not going right and it's going smooth. You know, there's a lot of pieces, parts to the engine underneath the hood. That's the same thing with your website. There's a lot of pieces, parts. Google can give you some hints about what needs to be sped up, but they're not things that you personally can do. It's outside of your skill set, unless you're a website coder and developer. So it's a conversation that you have. But keep an eye on it because you need to be responsible to have a conversation. Just like I, as a pet owner, it's my responsibility to bring my pet in if my dog is being sick. And then it's not my job to fix it at the veterinary hospital, but to deliver the animal to the veterinary hospital. That's your job, and to be educated as a consumer that your website is sick. That's on you. So that's why Google made this tool. Another handy thing for 2020 is blogging, because again, it's information, right? People are stressed out. They're frantic. They may know that something's not right with Fluffy, and you know, a lot of people are spending a lot more time with their animals than perhaps they ever have in their entire existence of the animal. A lot of people have new fur babies at home, and this may be their first go around with fur babies. So there's a lot of learning to do as pet owners, and they Google, right? Because we're home. What are we doing? We're on the internet all the time. So if your pet owners are on the internet, be it current or future pet owners, you need to be the one providing information to them. And a blog is a really great place for that. We suggest writing a blog piece at least once a month, sometimes depending on your location and zip code and human density, once a week. We write blogs at Beyond Indigo. We're really good at it. We have a whole stable of blog writers. But what it does is it improves your visibility in the search engines, because Google loves content. Like, you know, a few pictures ago, I said content is king and consistency is queen. Content. So it helps your pet owners get information. Your team can reference it for people when they're looking for information. It gives your website a more go-to resource for your pet owners and future pet owners. It's kind of your all-in-one marketing tool, really. So consider having a blog. If you have a blog, why don't you go check about the last time you published a blog post? If it's not within the last month, you need to kind of get on the consistency bandwagon again and get some blogs written. And you can write blogs ahead of time, everybody, and then just schedule them to release at certain times. So it's all there. But these are just some examples of a blog post. I love this picture of the cat because if you've had a pet, I don't know what's irresistible about toilet paper, but it's just something. My dog will just take it in his mouth and run right down the house with it. So blogging, that's really, really important there. Okay, so websites are one lobby, and Google is another lobby to your house, to your business, within people's homes. And I'm going to show a little video of what Google just released about search. And they released this about 3 weeks ago. So it's pretty up to date. Now, like I said, Google is scrambling. So they've made more changes this year than they did last year because Google's like the tail wagging the dog, and it's just an ongoing circle, or the chicken and the egg. So humans make behavioral choices. Google recognizes this. Google makes adaptations to meet the needs and the desires of humans. Humans adapt to Google, and then they make changes, and then Google makes changes on top of that change, and it's just constantly going in a circle. But that means then that you have to adjust your marketing so that you follow those adjustments that Google are making so that you can still be seen. And there's multiple places to be seen, and I will cover that in a minute. But I'm going to just play this little video here first so you all can see it.
There's a lot of information on the internet, like a lot. And at Google, it's our mission to organize it all and connect you with the information that you actually find useful, like this. These blue links are web results, a list of web pages ranked according to how relevant they are to what you've searched. Pretty useful. But for more than 20 years, we've been constantly working to find new ways to improve search. Let's say you want to know more about how to bake a carrot cake. As soon as you start typing, you'll see predicted searches start to appear. This is called autocomplete, a predictive feature that matches what you're typing to common searches to save you time. And after you've made your search, you might run into other useful features, like featured snippets, which highlight web pages that we think are especially likely to contain relevant information, and knowledge panels, which give you a quick snapshot of facts about people, places, and things, and the relationships between them. Our goal is for these features to help you find helpful information in web pages right away, so you can spend more of your time doing, well, whatever it was that sparked your question in the first place. But as important as it is that you get your information as quickly as possible, what's even more important is that that information is actually reliable and useful. That's where our ranking systems come in. When you type something into search, these systems, which are sometimes called algorithms, try to find matches between what you're searching and what's on the web, considering everything from keywords in your query to how recently the page was published. But no system is perfect, and sometimes ours may miss the mark and show you content that really isn't that relevant or doesn't come from the most reliable sources. You might think we could just fix the results for that specific search, but with billions of searches per day, there's no way that anyone could manually decide which pieces of content should be ranked above others. Here's what we do instead: make search better. We do that by coming up with improvements to our systems that we think might help not just those queries that turn up unreliable or irrelevant results, but a broad range of similar searches. In 2019 alone, we ended up making more than 3,620 improvements to search, for an average of nearly 10 improvements a day. These changes help us with ranking our blue link web results and our search features, like autocomplete, knowledge panels, and featured snippets. We also have additional policies that apply to our search features. Because these features are highlighted in a unique way on the page, these policies cover what's not allowed to appear in them, especially when it comes to information that might be offensive, dangerous, or incorrect. Our systems are designed to avoid showing content that violates these policies. But every now and then, we do have to remove incorrect or policy violating information from search features ourselves. Sometimes when we're alerted to issues based on feedback from our users. Then we look into what caused the issue, take what we've learned, and keep improving our systems, with the goal of preventing this kind of thing from happening again. So, to sum it all up, no system is perfect. But at Google, we're working every day to help you find what you're looking for just when you need it. And any other questions that might cross your mind.
So that's the background in which Google works. And that was 2019. You can just imagine how many changes they are making this year. And Google wants to provide so much information that not every time people click through to your website. And you can probably think about that for your own searches. You search for something, and if you find the information right on Google, you stop looking and you don't go and click through to websites. People stop. So Google becomes a new digital lobby for you for information. And for small businesses, the biggest one is Google My Business. And a lot of people either don't have it turned on or haven't looked at it or haven't kept it up to date. And I got to tell you, Google has made changes on steroids to this area since March 1st. So it's at google.com/business is where you look at it. And you need to make sure the owners are administrators, and then also that you're in there at least like once a week. Now, some of the changes Google has made, again, Google's trying to provide the most accurate information to people when they're searching, because if we as searchers go to find something on Google and it's not accurate, and that happens to us enough times as searchers, we're going to stop using Google and we're going to go find other sources of information to satisfy our curiosity on whatever we need to know. So Google's goal to keep Google viable is to keep itself current and up to date with the needs of its people who are searching. So this is, if you haven't seen it, this is the background. This is the dashboard within Google My Business. And there's a few things that you as a business should keep on top of. And certainly check it today, but put notations on your calendar to check it a couple of times a month, because Google is actually changing that so quickly and it's adapting so much. So one of the things in there is to make sure that your attributes are correct. Are you female owned? Are you veteran owned? Are you a Black owned business? Google offers it there. Google also has underneath the info tab, this is where they've made a lot of changes, is your hours. And a lot of people are looking at this. So you need to look at your hours, your service areas. They've added more hours, they've added special hours, they've added information so that people know what to expect from your business by looking at this page. So check this out and make sure that your information is correct here, and that, you know, there's some health and safety issues, but this area here for 2020 is definitely something besides your website that you need to keep up to date. Special hours for some businesses are, they were saying like they might be available for takeout and then they might be available for sit down for like a restaurant, or in a veterinary sense, maybe you're open for visits during the day and emergency hours at night. So look at that. Does that make sense? So you kind of like, every business is different, and Google's just trying to give each business an opportunity to explain what they're doing right now. For restaurants, they're doing like takeout only. And then you may have seen this, and there are little tags on it when you see it that they're takeout, they're drive-through, their carry up. You guys could put curbside as one of the attributes on there. So what I would suggest is all these tabs on the left, we don't have time to dig into this deeply today, is click on every single one of these tabs and make sure the information is correct. I would set aside an hour or two of time just to make sure that's right, or work with your marketing company and ask that they go in there and make sure it's correct. One of the things that Google offers right now for free is posts. So you can even put up posts about any special offers that you have or any dates. And they also have COVID-19 areas here where you can add a COVID-19 update about what's going on in your business. So again, that consistency piece. So whatever it is that you are doing for COVID, Google wants you to post it here as well, so that if, not everybody goes to the same place when they're searching information consistently. And so some people may never go to your website. They may never see a pop-up that you've put on your website about your protocols. They may have gone here to Google and then picked up the phone and called you. So you got to kind of look at each marketing platform is this is the only place people found me? Does it say what it needs to say so that people have a good experience when they come to my business right now during COVID? Kind of keep the lens on. And you can't answer that question, then you need to work on that platform. And that would be, the top ones would be Google My Business, your website, Facebook, Instagram, and then we're also suggesting Nextdoor, which I'll get to in a minute. So check this area out, because this is where people are checking you out, and you want to be where people are and also providing them the correct information about it. You can also get a lot of information and insights about like how many calls, where people are coming from, things like that, that would also help you in understanding the demographic and answering the demographic question. So check that out when you're going through it. Google My Business shows up in what Google was talking about as the knowledge panel. That knowledge panel is on the right side of a page. And that's kind of like a mini website in a way. Google's trying to replicate a lot of information there. It does give you a link to go to the website. But if you're sitting in your car and you're trying to find information, Google says, we'll provide it for you, and we'll provide it easily and quickly. And that's it. That's the only place you need to go. So check that out. Make sure it's accurate. Make sure your hours are accurate, and keep going that way. So that's a big one. That's a huge one. Google actually has 5 different areas of search now. They have search that is mobile focused, local, organic, which was the original, advertising, and voice search. So search really is now 5 subset areas. Google My Business was the local search I was telling you about, and that's a big one, especially for small businesses like yourselves who service people within a fairly close geographical area, 3 to 10 miles typically. So that's Google My Business is a big one there. How your website is constructed and other indicators means how you will be given maybe some preference overall in search, and especially on mobile devices, which is why that Think with Google and speed is important, so that you can be seen in mobile. Organic search is the searches that are down here below, and then there's over 200 different indicators on how you can be placed here, but your website's a really big one. This box here is local search. And again, Google My Business is part of that. Your website's part of that. Or you can purchase an ad, like right here. Advertising. I picked plumbers because I couldn't find veterinarians advertising. By the way, it's still really inexpensive to do ads on Google right now. The rates for Google ads dropped because Google ads and Facebook are based on an auction basis, like how much is their demand for a slot, and there's a lot less demand, so the cost is a lot lower. So you might want to consider doing a few ads for 2020. But there's 4 slots for ads, and then there's local, and then there's organic, and then there's 3 more slots down here if there was plenty of advertising. So it's really, really important to be seen that you look at all areas of search. And then of course, voices like Google Home or Alexa or things like that, when people voice actively hey Alexa, I need the nearest veterinarian to me, and Alexa goes out and finds it. And they're usually pulling off the same parameters that get you shown on a visual page versus an audio search. So to be seen, to be found, to be viable, you need to make sure your search is functioning correctly. The one that you can control, again, is Google My Business, that you all yourselves can put your hands on a keyboard and have some impact. The other searches, really you need a marketing company to help you, or a website company. Well, actually not just a website company, a marketing company, because now search and everything is indicated and mixed in with social media and everything. So take a look at that, see how you're found, get some reports if you don't know, and consider some Google ads, consider some Facebook ads, because if you have your phone, you might just want to pick it up while you're listening to me right now and do veterinarian near me and see what pulls up and see if there's ads, because if there's ads, these ads right here tend to take up our entire first page of our screen without scrolling on our mobile device. And Google did that on purpose. I mean, they're not dumb. They are a billion-dollar company. Of course, they want ads showing first so that you as a user click on the ad, because it doesn't cost you anything as a user, but it makes Google money, and then it encourages businesses to use them again because they're getting traffic to their website. So Google puts that first, it shows up first on mobile devices, then you have to scroll on a mobile device, then you see the map, and then you have to scroll some more, and then you get to organic search. So it's deliberate, people. The other area you want to look at, and Nextdoor came into some play here because of Facebook. In some places, Facebook's been really toxic. In some places, Nextdoor's been really toxic. So we kind of look back and forth at these, but ads on Nextdoor actually have been fairly decent in some areas and actually less expensive than like Google. So if you haven't been on a business for like Nextdoor and haven't at least put your business up there, which is free, you go to nextdoor.com, click local business, and you follow setting it up. And then you can get like a business page on Nextdoor, and they offer 2 free posts a month right now that you can reach out to the neighborhoods around you to let them know about your services. So you can at least do the free posts and not have any money involved, or you can do some ads. But it's definitely a place to keep an eye on it. A lot of animal conversations are on there, and if you guys can take part of that and start being part of your neighborhood, that's also a really good place for 2020. So check that out as well. So social media. So the site has the pop-up. I'm not going to go through every single social media platform. There's a lot, right? Like the site has Facebook and all of this. What you need to know about social media is, besides being consistent, like the banner at the top of the page of whatever your protocol is and the photos are right, also provide some fun if you can, in a tasteful sort of way. Not in a like ignoring everything way, that people are burnt out again, going to that bandwidth. You know, we have that 0 to 10 and they're starting at 6 to 8. If you can help provide them some place for a little smile, a little chuckle, a little help along the way, it can be educational and whatnot. But like, I went, because we're coming up on Halloween, and I went and looked at dog costumes yesterday, and it was so much fun. And then I saw this guy's dog costume, and, you know, I lost 10 minutes looking at dogs in costumes and cats in costumes. And I had a really fun time with it, right? Like, it gave me a moment. It gave me just a breathing moment, a break to say, oh my gosh, look at this dog in this pirate coat. This is super cute. So like here at Beyond Indigo, we do things like this where we help do, you know, costume contests and things like that. It gives people a moment to shift their thinking. It's like a mental break. right? So think about that in your social media, besides being consistent about talking about your protocols in there and about talking about seasonal health related issues. Also think about how can you also put a little smile. Veterinary hospitals are really unique in the sense that you have so much humongous content about cute puppies and kittens. Even showing pictures of animals that you've seen that day, or a new litter of puppies come in. I mean, who can resist a litter of puppies? You guys could be plumbers. It's not a lot you can do with a toilet seat, ladies and gentlemen. So embrace what you have, and show it off. So it's a lot of fun. So reviews is another place that you should look at for 2020. And people are coming in from all different walks and points and stress levels in their life, but you need to keep an eye on your reviews. Positive reviews need to be responded to, and more than just a thank you. Show a little caring, show a little, it was so great to see you today, and Fluffy looks so good today, and we're so glad we had a moment. Thank you for sharing your loved one, and anything that you can do with that. If you have a negative review, don't run away from it, embrace it. If you know the person who it is, call them up on the phone and see if you can work it out and address it. And if you can even leave a comment like, it was so great to talk to you today on the phone. I'm glad that life is a little bit better. You can craft it. You can also work with a company like ours. We help draft negative responses to negative reviews. Of course, we always pass it by you first to make sure it's appropriate. What you don't want to do is hit the keyboard when you're emotionally upset with a review, because it's just adding oil to a fire. And we've also unfortunately seen that happen here at Beyond Indigo, and it's not recommended because it only ends up in disaster. It doesn't end up in positivity and solutions. So make sure you always take a break. Don't address the negative review until you've gotten back to balance and zen. And that may take 24 to 48 hours, but do that. Don't just go right off the cuff and attack somebody. That's not going to bring in the outcome that you want. So handle reviews with care, but please do handle them. Keep an eye on them. If you're not, you should, or hire some company to do so for you. It could help make or break. And along those lines and I just published this article, it's in MWI this month, it's called Leave a Mint in Your Lobby. Change the narrative. A narrative is a storyline. It has a beginning and an end, and it's consistent. We are used to narratives in our society. We are marketed to with narratives all the time. You could probably recite some logos and some sayings from major corporations that give them. But lots of people come in with narratives. You just don't know what they are, and it might be, I can't handle one more thing is what the narrative is in their head, or I don't feel great today, or I can't believe the dog is sick again, or I don't want to do this anymore, I'm over it and I'm done. So we all have our own personal narratives. The way you guys can help with your marketing is do something, again, unexpected in a positive way. And one of those is like this picture I have up, is give out a bag of Skittles or a bag of M&Ms and say, here's a rainbow for you today. Thank you for visiting us. So it doesn't have to be that, but something that derails that narrative in their head that life is not good today to, oh my God, I just got a rainbow. And then they'll use that. And a lot of times when people get something unexpected in a positive way, they tend to go tell other people all about that experience they had. So it's twofold. One, you break up the narrative, perhaps that was on the negative train of thought, and put it more to a positive train, because who doesn't like getting happy surprises? And also people will talk about it. So think about it in your own practice, what that would mean. Just a Skittle packet is allergy friendly, it's individual package, so it's okay with COVID, and it's easy to give out, so that's why I'm using that suggestion. Now another place, and I'll put this in chat here, this is a tool we use here at Beyond Indigo a lot, is Google Alerts. So you sign up to get information. Like, I get information from Google Ads or Google My Business, and Google, what they'll do is aggregate all the data about what had just recently came out about that topic and send it to you based on your timeline. You may want it every hour, once a day, once a week, but this helps you keep up with adjustments. You can even put your own business name in there. You can put competitors' names in there. You can put it up on dog cancer. It can be really about any topic you want, but it's just that Google does the work for you and saves you time for having to go out and do research by delivering it to your email box. I would suggest that you set up Google My Business if you're not working with a marketing company to keep you up to date with that. Your marketing company would help keep you manageable and keep your marketing up and running because we all know time is at a premium right now. So with all that being said, here at Beyond Indigo, we use digital marketing plans, and I'm going to run a little video about that because what we do is we look at your goals and then we provide results. And we don't contract for individual services. We just do a marketing plan, which has worked wonderful to adjust, to have the fluidity that I started off with during this time. So if you really don't need ads on Google, but you need them on Facebook, you don't have to write a different contract. We just go, okay, this is what it is. It's not going out to ping their website or their page views. It's articles that are written about that business. It's not actually visiting that website. So if there was any, like your local paper ran an article about ABC Veterinary Hospital and you had an alert for ABC Veterinary Hospital, it would send that newspaper article to your mailbox. All right, so I'm going to show this video about how we work here to handle everything I just showed you. Because what we do is we have goals, and we look at goals quarterly, and we say, okay, gosh, you want more tails through the door, that's your goal, then we'll rummage around in our digital toolbox, and we'll make those goals happen. And then we share the results with you. Or the next time, like Christmas, you may want as much boarding as you can handle. So let me play this, and then we can talk about anything else that you might have, or any marketing questions that you have yourself. Just throw them in the chat and we'll get to them, and Gina and I can help address it.
Hi, Miss Whiskers. Thanks for coming.
Hi, Dr. Paws.
Right now, marketing my veterinary practice is overwhelming. Thanks for helping me sort out this doggone mess.
Well, I am the perfect consultant. Have you heard of Beyond Indigo Pets? They help vets just like you simplify your marketing and generate powerful results that bring tails through your door.
Seriously?
Yep, let me explain. Some marketing agencies use a marketing to-do list for every veterinary practice they work with. It's the same month after month, regardless of your individual practice goals. Beyond Indigo Pets works with you to set goals first and then maps out a 3-month plan to meet those goals. Your 3-month plan is customized using just the right tools from the marketing toolbox to give you the best possible results. You don't need to contract for different services when your goals change because the flexibility is built into the plan.
Marketing goals? That sounds rough.
It doesn't have to be. Listen to Meow. Your marketing goals are simply whatever helps grow your business, like filling your boarding facility or making sure that all of your dental appointments are booked out for the next month. Beyond Indigo Pets measures the results, and if you share some numbers, they can show your ROI. And because they provide clear reports, you can see the results for yourself.
I don't know, Miss Whiskers. All of this talk about results gives me pause.
Hey, leave the puns to me. Results don't have to be scary. For example, if we're talking about Google Ads, you'd want to see the cost of the ads go down and the conversion rate, or what people do with the ad, go up. For example, Beyond Indigo Pets helped one of their clients see a 446% increase in conversions year after year, at a 71% decrease in cost per conversion. See? They brought more tails through that client's door, and for less money.
I heard someone say that Google, Facebook, and all of those other companies make a bunch of changes every year. What does Beyond Indigo do about that?
The beauty of a digital marketing plan is that it's flexible, and can respond to changes in the marketplace or in individual platforms. Plus, if your marketing is performing well on one platform, like Facebook, Beyond Indigo doesn't spend additional time or your dollars redoing a task simply to check it off the list. Instead, they focus their efforts on another of your marketing goals. This approach is much more efficient, and that brings more tails through your door.
Wait, let me get this right. They efficiently meet my goals, keep my bottom line healthy, and are easy to work with? So I'd be in control of my marketing goals, but not so overwhelmed. Sounds like this is a perfect match. What do I do next?
Just go to beyondindigopets.com and fill out the contact form. Easy as that. And don't just take my word for it. Their website shows other examples of real results for real clients.
You guys have been wonderful. Thank you for listening.